Here are 7 Islamic prophecies that will A, blow your mind, and B, prove that Islam is the one true religion. Let's dive right in.
All right, let's check it out.
All right, guys, looks like it's time to refute Kohli again because he just seems to be lying again and again.
Number 1, the Quran explains to an absolute T embryology.
Simply put, the Quran actually gets embryology wrong. In Surah 23:14, we see the Quranic version of embryology. It asserts that bones are formed first and then is clothed with flesh, but that is not true. The bones and the flesh actually form simultaneously, not subsequently.
The Holy Quran says that the bones were created first and then they were covered with flesh afterwards. And he's saying, no, this is a lie. The bones and the flesh, they work simultaneously. Okay. What does the Quran say in chapter 23, verse 14? It says, then we created the embryonic lump into bones, then we clothed the bones with flesh. Now, if you don't know the basics of embryology, bro, stop embarrassing yourself. Why? Because let's have a look at the formation of bones. The mesoderm, which is the middle cell layer, it differentiates into 2 main tissues. Which ones? The somites and the myotomes. This skeletal framework forms before the muscle tissues even develop. And then the formation of muscles after the bones have developed, the myoblasts, what do? From the myotome region, they surround and clothe the bones, literally as the Quran said so. These myoblasts, they fuse to form muscle fibers, which literally wrap around the bones. Now let's have a look and see what embryologists have said. Keith L. Moore, in his book The Developing Human, 10th edition, published 2015, page 79 to 81, he states that by the end of the 7th week, the ossification of bones has begun, while the muscle mass starts to form around them afterwards. Larson's Human Embryology, 6th edition, published 2021, chapter 10, bones are formed in the 6th week. Then he says that the myogenic cells migrate later to surround these skeletal elements. Langman's Medical Embryology, 14th edition, published 2023, page 146. Muscle formation follows the development of the skeletal framework. Here's an image proving it.
Number 2, the Quran explains how clouds form.
He really tried to sneak past this one. We're not going to let him. Surah 24:43 says that clouds come together to form rain or hail. Humans have known that for thousands and thousands of years. There's nothing special about this being in the Quran.
What do you mean nothing special? You basically couldn't even explain why the Quran proves it and then jump straight over it.
Number 3, it explains the Big Bang Theory to a T. I'm not kidding you.
Notice how he doesn't actually show any verses, because the Quran does not explain the Big Bang Theory. Muslims like to bring up Surah 51:47 that says Allah created the universe and is expanding it. Even if you grant the idea that Allah is creating more, he's expanding the universe, this still has nothing to do with the Big Bang Theory.
The Quran in chapter 51 verse 49 isn't talking about the Big Bang, bro. What are you doing? This is the same as the summary point. You're bringing a random verse, linking it to the Big Bang, and then saying it's got nothing to do with the Big Bang. It literally has nothing to do with the Big Bang. This speaks about the expansion or the ongoing expansion of the universe, and this has been proven scientifically. The verse that does talk about the Big Bang is chapter 21 verse 30. It says, do the disbelievers not realize that the heavens and the earth were one mass, then we split them apart. This is talking about the Big Bang.
And number 4, it explains how freshwater and saltwater can't mix. Another thing we didn't discover until the last 50 years.
So the Quran actually gets this wrong. In Surah 25:53, it talks about 2 bodies of water not being able to merge because one is fresh and one is salty. Because the author of the Quran thinks there's a barrier and that this is how saltwater and freshwater interact. But in actuality, saltwater and freshwater actually mix.
He talks about fresh water and salt water, and he says that they do mix, and then claims the Quran is saying they don't mix. The Quran doesn't even say that, bro. You're not even quoting the Quran properly. Allah says in chapter 25 verse 53, it is He who has released the 2 seas, one fresh, one salty, and He placed between them a barrier and an insurmountable partition. The word maraja means He let loose. The word barzakh means barrier. The word hijr majhur means a boundary that cannot be crossed fully. That's the emphasis, right? This verse doesn't say that they never touch. Okay, they do meet and they do flow, yet there is a barrier which prevents complete mixing. Even oceanographers call this a thing called halocline, which is a transition layer in the sea. Even where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Mediterranean Sea, there's a barrier that exists. And here's an image showing you this.
5, it explains what the bottom of the ocean looks like.
Once again, notice how he doesn't show the verse because the Quran does not explain what the ocean floor looks like. In Surah 24:40, we see that down deep in the ocean, it's dark and that there's no light. Something that human beings have known for literally thousands of years.
And again, he couldn't refute this point, so what does he do? He jumps straight over it again.
And this one blows my mind. The Quran says the word day 365 times, and now there's 365 days in a year. And
Sadly, even this one is not true. The Quran uses the word day around 475 times.
See, the word day, al-yawm, it just only appears in the Quran 365 times. That's it. You're not looking at the other words, okay? The plural ayyam or the dual yawmain, if you take them out, the word yawm singular form, it only appears in the Quran 365 times. So basically, Kohli, you haven't done anything. All you've done is you've exposed your ignorance. That's it.